Okay, so I was going to do this video using my camera, but the battery was dead. And I haven't used the other battery in it. I don't know why. It's just, I figured that maybe I could probably use one until it starts to give out on me, and then I have a fresh one. I don't know. Probably put too much strain on one battery, but you don't really care about that. You care about this video. It's an Ask HershNoeie. Be sure to join the Discord, which is going to be down in the description box below. I'm getting a little bit of a headache too because I had I didn't get enough coffee, I don't think. Probably not enough sleep either, but we have a Keurig, and so I used what's it called? Apple cider. Hot apple cider. It was great. Now I'm drinking a coffee, but I should have had coffee earlier and I wouldn't be having these headache issues, but we'll see. Excuse me, that's not what this is about. This is about relationship on Discord. So someone on Discord had a question that said, Hersh, have you made a video about finding a partner? It seems you have a nice and successful relationship with your wife. Maybe make a video for men in their 30s and older for advice on how to find a good woman for a successful long-term relationship. And I told them that is an awesome request, and I will definitely do that. And then someone who's in a Malaysian relationship also, she had a question afterwards, and I'll do a different video on that because it's similar but different, because this gentleman wants to know about men in particular, right? I have done videos about finding a partner before, and let me turn this light on because I feel like it's dark in here. I had this light off because if I was going to do the camera, it doesn't like fake light. It likes natural light. Whatever. You guys don't really care, but I had to explain myself. Anyway, so one of the big things that I think is key, at least for me, is discovering who I am. And I think that it takes some time for you to really discover who you are. Now, there may be some people who will say, oh, I've always known who I was, but it takes some time. Unless you start off early on in life and you were put through a lot, and there's some people who dealt with a lot, and they've overcame those things and they kind of know who they are, then at a younger age. But typically, you're not going to really know who you are until you've lived a little bit. When you get into your 30s, you start to really pinpoint who you are, the things that you want to do, the things that you did wrong. And so I think it's easier at that point in life to basically find a successful relationship in general if you're someone who's willing to know that you don't know everything. If you're the type, and I know several people like that, if you think you know everything, or you think that you know what's best, or you have an ego, it's not going to work. Eventually, it's going to fall apart. It may work in the short term, but eventually, it doesn't matter how much money you have, it doesn't matter about anything. Eventually, it's going to fall apart. Either you're going to end up in a divorce, either you're going to be unhappy, or the other person's going to be unhappy. It's just never going to be a successful relationship. Two people can stay together or kind of stay married, but are they going to be happy and successful in that marriage? Now, I'm not a big-time expert here. Let's put that out there. I'm not a marriage counselor, don't know anything about that, don't know how to make other relationships work. I just know how to make it work for myself and Noelle. And so it's a partnership that we have. And I think that's one of the big things that I had to understand more so, because I didn't have a dad in my household. He was in the same town, but not in the same household. My parents had 4 kids. I was the only boy. They were married forever. And then shortly after I was born, there was a divorce. So it was a situation where all the girls had him in their life, but I never did. So one of the very difficult points for me was just understanding, A, what it is to be a man. So I had to go through that, and I'm still navigating that. And B, what it meant to be a successful husband. Right? Because my dad was someone who worked all the time. It wasn't like a bad work ethic or anything like that. He liked to drink a lot, and he liked to go around and chase skirt. You know what I mean? And so for me, it was, how do I do the opposite? I don't want to have kids where they're basically not around their dad. I don't want to be in a situation where I get involved with someone and then just, abandon them, or, end up in a divorce with kids involved, right? Because I've been in a divorce before, but I didn't have kids with them. And I wanted to make sure that I did everything opposite of what my dad and my mom did, right? So part of what I say all that because part of what I needed to do was go through my first marriage and deal with all of the deficits that I had. I had a lot of different deficits that I didn't realize I had. And it would have been there whether I had two people in the household as a family or not. If I had a mom and dad in the household, it still would have been deficits. I think we all have them. But when you don't really seek to learn about yourself, then you can never have a relationship work successfully, right? So the first part for me was understanding me. I took ownership of everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, the pretty, everything about me I took ownership of and took pride in. The things that, maybe, like the little dolphin did, my big old head. I took pride in those things. You see what I'm saying? Things that, normally back in the day kind of bothered me a little bit. Now I'm like, whatever. I took pride in those things. And so a true woman finds those types of things when a man takes pride in himself and he's not braggadocious and he's able to make them laugh and he's able to, be someone that can show their emotions and be empathetic. That's attractive to a lot of women. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's very attractive. And it's about who you are. Like, as I noticed that when I really discovered who I was, I just carried it with me. So some people don't like that. Even today, there's some people who don't like, especially if you're a black man, they don't like a strong black man. They don't like that. Right? And I say that because I never come out and say, I'm a strong black man. I don't think people should mention how strong you are. I think it should just show. And sometimes that's intimidating for people. Right? But that's not my problem. You see what I'm saying? I think a man in general who really and truly embraces their shortcomings, their good points, their strong points, and are humble, that's something that women naturally will find pretty attractive. You see what I'm saying? More so than a checkbook or what you have in your bank account. Those things are important, but I think it's more important about the fabric of the person, right? The whole overall view of the person. So for me, once I actually ate a lot of humble pie and I was full, I had a lot of learning about who I was able to have someone in my life who was going through difficult points in her time too. Because Noelle, even though she was in her 20s when I met her, I was in my 30s when I met her. She was in her late 20s. She had a lot of things that were still a lot of baggage. You see what I'm saying? Had I not went through and did everything I needed to do with me, we would have never worked because she had so much baggage from her past. She had family issues. She had a lot of different things that were going on. So I was able to help navigate those things with her. And then she got to a point of where she had self-discovery also, right? It just that when she went through her self-discovery, it was when we were together. I did my self-discovery when I was with no one. I mean, I was dating people, but I was really not in a marriage, obviously, at that point. So to me, I was able to just kind of help her when needed and mainly be a support system. And then, she grew faster. So, it went from me starting first and her not even there to like excelling and passing me. And so she literally helped smooth down a lot of the rough edges. But I think that for you to have a good, successful relationship to where you're able to be a yin and yang, you have to take a lot of ownership of yourself. And I think that when you get into your 30s and older, you should be at that point of where you start to understand yourself. There's some people that will never grow up. There are some people who are catered to their whole life, and they will never get there. But most of us aren't. And most of us are looking for someone who is going to add value to our life. I later on didn't get into relationships prior to Noelle. I got into a situation where I didn't want to get into relationships with people who were not worth my time. I felt like, it was kind of pointless. Yeah, some of these people looked amazing. But it was like, do I want to continue down that path of just looking at the pretty only, or do I want to look for substance as well as beauty? You see what I'm saying? Because I think that there are a lot of women who are pretty, and then there are many women who are beautiful. And the difference for me is that when a woman can look at herself in any shape, form, fashion, stretch marks or not, and say I'm beautiful, that's the type of person that you want to be with. Do you see what I'm saying? So it took me some time to stop chasing the pretty and focus on the things that were beautiful. I know that may sound cheesy to some people, but I'm being honest. I mean, if you want to find the biggest person that ran around and did all types of stuff, even some of my guy friends would joke and talk about me to my face about, oh, you always out there, you with a different chick. That was me. That was me. Not gonna lie about that. But you then slowly start. I knew at some point I needed to grow up. I knew that I wanted to have a family. I knew that I wanted to be in a relationship that my mother would be proud of. And so, and the rest of my family. And that's what I was able to do. So I think the first part of that, I think things kind of fall into place when you work on you. I see there's a certain person I follow on Instagram who is extremely beyond beautiful, or pretty, I should say. She is so pretty. Like it's insane. Just if you look at her face, makeup no or not, she's insanely pretty. Okay? But her self-esteem seems to be very low. And I only say that based on some of the things that they have done to amplify their prettiness, and some of the things that they put on their stories. And I've seen that pattern before many times with people I have dated before that were very pretty, not as pretty as this chick, but very pretty, and some of the same things, commitment issues, different things. And I realized that, and it's not to say that you can't find a super hot chick and be with, but I realized that sometimes all that glitter is not gold. And that sometimes there's fool's gold. It looks great, it looks amazing, but then when you really and truly get down in the trenches and you have your difficult times and you need someone to help push you, you're not going to come up with much. When you really and truly want someone who, in a whole package, not just pieces, because there's some of these pretty chicks that can be there for you in pieces. You need a push, I can push you. Or if I want to brag about, look how sexy my man looks, they're there for you there. But when it comes down to like, dang, I lost my job, or man, I'm not feeling so good because this whole sickness has me in the house and I feel bummed out, or maybe you want to, whatever the case may be, and they're not there for you, it's because they can't. You see what I'm saying? So I wanted to be with a woman that could handle all of those situations and say, you're good, I got you. And in order for me to be that same person back, to reciprocate, I had to go through what I went through, which was look at myself, look at all the weaknesses that I had, look at all the issues. That's why today there's people that I come across who have attitude issues, and I just basically, I'm like, okay. There are some people who, no matter how nice you are to them, they give off an entitled vibe, or they have an attitude, and that shows a lack of maturity. And I recognize it because that was where I was. You see what I'm saying? And the good thing is that Noelle got me at my best. She didn't get me at my worst. She got me at my best. And my best, when she got me compared to where I am today, is far apart. You see what I'm saying? And so it really and truly, if you want to find a good woman for a successful long-term relationship, you need to first analyze yourself so that you know not to go for the wrong type of woman. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't want to do that. And you have a lot of people that kind of settle. I know a lot of people that just settle because it's safe. They may not be the happiest. Now, I'm not saying Noelle and I don't have disagreements or that, we're just perfect. And you have some people say there's a lot, especially Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day's coming up, so watch your Facebook and you'll see a whole bunch of stuff from bitter folks. But you'll have people say, a lot of these people think that they're happy, but they're really not happy. And it's like, but you don't know that. Sure, there are going to be times when, I'm annoyed by stuff. Things bother me. Things annoy me. Sometimes Noelle annoys me. I annoy her. Kids annoy me. I annoy the kids. There's always that, right? That's just being a human being. But as far as being able to really and truly be a true yin and yang to where, like I can trust Noelle with everything, like every single thing. You have to first assess who you are. You have to understand you. You see what I'm saying? And it's not necessarily even an age thing so much. I think that when you get older, I think you've had more life experiences and you should be able to take a step back and kind of see it. And the chick that I talked about that's really pretty, she's younger. She's in her 20s. But the problem is the reason why they're single is they've built this massive, this is something I found too, is that there's some women who build this massive expectation of what they expect out of a guy. They want to build a dude. And it's like, but what value do you bring to the table other than your looks? What do you bring to the table other than your looks? And that's the difference between a boy and a man. A man is going to be able to look at no matter what you throw at him, no matter how pretty she is, no matter what the body looks like, and say, okay, but what value do you bring to the relationship? Because all that pretty can fade quick. You'll get older, you get stretch marks. That's the second time this chair has done that. Sorry guys, but I put my leg back and it hits the little thing. It scares me. I'm thinking the thing's going to crash. But what do you bring? Because I'm bringing a lot to the table, but what do you bring? And so then you start to weed those things out. There were plenty of folks that I, could have been around with, hung out with, and that I did back in the day that were just insane. But you realize that, and have I spied to see what those people are doing today? I have. And even though that's been 12 years ago, Jesus, some of those people are still single or been in and out of relationships because they have, and at the time I didn't see it, at the time I didn't care. You're looking at butts, you're looking at boobs, you're looking at face, you're looking at all this other stuff that's very superficial, and you're not seeing the content of the character of the person. So yeah, that's how. I can't give you anything other than, hey, if you make this type of money or you wear, it doesn't work that way. Noelle found me when I was making good money. There was a period when I was hurting. After my first divorce, I was hurting, financially hurting. I literally at that point, I thought things were not going to be good for me. I thought I would have to move back to Kentucky with my mama. And literally, my supervisor at the time told me, hey, there's a promotion coming up. I think you'd be good for it, but you got to put in a lot of work. I hustled. I never worked that hard in my life in such a short period of time to really and truly improve my standing, to leap ahead of people who were more qualified because they had a higher position. I literally interviewed my butt off. Literally. I looked at that dude in the eye and just gave him everything I had. And I was able to get that job. Now that was a blessing and a curse. It was a blessing because I was able to, I didn't have to move back in with my mama. I never asked my mama for a penny. When I was 18 years old, I never asked my mom for a penny, a dime, a nickel, nothing. Never, ever, never did. And in fact, I helped her. I would pay certain things every now and again. Could have did a whole lot more than I did, but I felt like, my mom spent her whole life trying to take care of me and my sisters. So the last thing I would ever do is ask her for money. But I was able to get the job I wanted and provide for myself, but I was able to provide for myself. I think my raise was like 112% increase or something stupid. I was like, good gravy. Because they give you the sheet and it tells you what you're going to make and what the increase was. I'm like, dang. So, my boss is like, is that going to be okay? And I looked at him. I'm like, yeah. That's what I said. Literally, I remember I was like, yeah. I was thinking, what am I going to do? And foolishly, I spent all that money flossing instead of traveling. I should have traveled. At that time, I should have went and traveled, but I didn't. I spent it flossing and spending it, going to casino, blowing $300-400 just like it's nothing in an hour, spending hundreds and hundreds and and I'm not ashamed. I'm not proud of it. I'm ashamed of it. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars, like in one sitting, going to places that I knew were way expensive and spending huge amounts of money on booze and food and going to the bar and trying to impress the whole building and say, everybody at the bar, I got them. Stupid stuff. And did it give me good points? Yep, because there was a whole lot of chicks that you'd be like, oh. I remember going to the club and, dancing with some chick and everything, and she's all, just dancing very dirty. And then, I'm about to walk off the dance floor to follow the chick, and then some other chick grabbed me by the arm, pulled me back on the dance floor to dance with me. I remember those things. Because I was literally taking my wallet and just opening it up or walking with a big wad of cash because of the simple fact I was not the man that I needed to be. I just hadn't grown. I should have done things differently. And so after a while, you sit around on your birthday and it's like, damn, ain't nobody around. Like, all those chicks are with whoever. All those dudes, like, yeah, man, where are they at? And you get tired of that. And so for me, it was, this is not something that's sustainable. This is not, it's fun. Yeah, you get to meet a lot of interesting people. You get put in social circles that really and truly I didn't fit in, with very, very, very wealthy people that I didn't fit in. And so I changed and I got humbled. And so then there was points in time when financially things, even though I was up here, crashed again. You know what I'm saying? During Noelle's time. And then she's just been very positive. And so now it's like I'm doing way better than I've ever done because I had to go through all of the stupidity and dumbness that I did in order to grow to where I'm at now. You see what I'm saying? Now I'm doing by far better financially, by far better relationship-wise, and having a great family because of the simple fact I literally had to look at myself and say, why was I doing all those things? Why did I feel the need to do all those things? You know what I mean? Sometimes you need a counselor to help you. I didn't need one. Probably I did, but I didn't go to one. And so I just kind of said, fix it. Let's fix these things. Ignore that wink, because all it is, they'll be back at your house, but then what? I'm being 100. I'm keeping it 100% here. Not a problem. In Indianapolis, especially for a black dude on the north side, one of my white friends says it's like shooting fish in a barrel for you, and it was true. Now, some of that was probably, was I fetishized? Probably. Not proud of that. But to be honest with you, it was literally like that. It was literally like that. Not in every circumstance, but it was literally like that. Dated all types of women from different countries, different places, all of that. But it got very old. And it got to the point of where, in order for me to have a respectable and respectful relationship, I need to be able to respect myself. And I need to look at the pollution that I've actually just dealt with. Why was I dealing with this? Maybe I was afraid of commitment because of a past divorce, flashbacks of my mom and dad, didn't want to have kids that are, stuck in a situation, all of those things. Then I realized, you know what? Well, then work on you. Be a good guy. Be a nice guy. If you do those things, you can have a nice and a successful relationship. You definitely can. But it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of ownership of yourself. Then you will know the right person to find. Don't go for looks. That plays a part, obviously. But don't go for looks. Keep the fourth ring down. Look for other things that are very important, that are definitely things that are important to you, and that people will be proud of you, saying, I'm proud of you. You with her, I'm proud of you. Don't go to, and these are women in the past, and I'll end this. The women in the past, they tolerated me, and they loved what I was, I was life of the party, but well celebrated me. And so there's a big difference. Don't go where you're tolerated. Go where you're celebrated. Make sure you join the Discord. It's going to be down in the description box below. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, I will see you. Take care.